Hello, this is Brenda Green, and I'd like to welcome you to Living in the Go. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, this is your opportunity. Please subscribe and like it and share it with your friends because, again, we're building a movement here. Today, I'm talking to you about the wealth gap. I'm going to include some data here in terms of Black women specifically, in terms of how much money they have, and also about marriage in our community and defining how it impacts the wealth that we can generate. So let's get started. Let's look at some of the stats. So Black couples were more likely to be married before 1970. The number was around 80% of them being married. But all of that changed after the 70s. We had the civil rights movement, certainly. We had feminism that came to the forefront, and women became more educated, were more likely to be in the workforce, having their own money, so more of an independence. And we seem to slowly separate from the men in our communities and not feel like marriage was necessarily the big goal for us. In the 80s, we had a lot of Black men being incarcerated, not being able to be there to be a part of their families and their communities. So a lot of significant things have changed, and it brought us to where we are today, where 1 in 4 Black women get married. Over 50% of Black men are childless and unmarried. That's a huge stat. We need to look at that and consider how is that playing a big factor. Back in 2017, we looked at the statistics, and Black men who were married, 85% of them had a Black wife. Black women who were married, 93% of them had a Black husband. So you hear the myths and whatever that Blacks are going into other races, and that does happen, but it's not as huge as people would have you think it is. If you look at the earnings and employment, so women ages 16 to 64 who are in the labor force, Black women 72%, all women 71%. Unfortunately, 24% of the Black women who are working below the poverty level, only 14% for all women. That's a big gap. If you look at who worked full-time, so the median earning for a full-time employee, a Black woman, was $36,695. For all women, it was $42,238. The earnings for part-time workers was even smaller. It was 24% for Blacks and 26% for all women. But if you look at the numbers of how much they're making, their earnings for the year, 3% of Black women make less than $10,000, 2% for all women. 16% of Black women make less than 20, 9% for other women, all women. 22% of Black women make less than 30. For all women, 14% make less than 30. 33% is the number for Black women making less than 50. 27% for all women. 17% for women making under 75,000 and 22% for all women. For women making 75,000 and more, only 9% of Black women are making over 75,000. 26%, however, of all women are making over 75,000. So the numbers are just huge in terms of the percentages of, again, how much we are not making in our community. 50,000 or more, that's the overall. So 26% of Black women are making 50,000 or more, but 48% of all women are making 50,000 or more. If you look at the occupations, white collar workers, 64% are Black women, 71% of all women. Blue collar is the same, 8% across the board. In blue collar jobs, you see women out on the construction crews. Maybe they're holding up the sign, or maybe they're actually doing things like electricians or plumbers, but the number is very low. And in the service occupations, 28% for Black women, 21% for all women. And those service occupations could be the nursing assistant in the old folks home, or the server in a restaurant, or the maid. Those are service occupations, and they don't pay very well. If you look at Black household income percentages, so the median household income for all people is a little over 65,000, but in a Black household, it's just 43,862. The median family income for Blacks is 54, almost 55,000, but for all family incomes, it's over 80,000. A married couple family income for Blacks could be 81,545. For all, it could be over 95,000. If you look at a single family where it's headed by a woman, for Blacks, it could be very, very small, 35,000. For all, it could be 40,000 or more. So when I talk about the wealth gap, when I talk about how when couples are not together but they're working independently, they don't have as much wealth. It's staggering how much that defines us and how it makes us not be what we should be. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I hope this presentation was helpful for you and gave you lots of information and things to consider. If you haven't subscribed, again, please do. Please share it with your friends and hit that like button. We like the likes. And if you don't like it, you can hit the don't like button. That's okay too, but at least it gives me some feedback. So have a great day. And again, thank you.